All right, good morning, beautiful students. This is a little introduction to the assignment Similes and Metaphors from the Tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. Now that you've read Act 1, I just want to review with you one of the major techniques that Shakespeare uses in his poetic dramatic writing. He is constantly employing similes and metaphors. And if you come over here and review the definition, I know that you realize they're both comparisons, but there's a difference here. And specifically, similes use like, as, or so, or as if. But when you look here at a metaphor, they're a comparison without using those words. And so I've given you 4 different similes and metaphors that you're going to have to locate throughout the entire play of Act 1 and follow the directions below. Specifically, in column 1, you want to review the example and then make note of it in your active reading. So what that's going to require is that you look over here at column 1, read over the actual simile or metaphor. In this case, it's a simile. But then you need to go back to your active reading and look at Act 1, Scene 4, and because it is poetry, the line numbers. So if you go back to your PDF of Act 1, you'll notice that on the PDF, in the bottom right-hand side of the pages, they'll give you information about what act and scene you are in. And then you can just use these numbers on the left-hand side to help you locate the actual passage. You'll notice that I've already highlighted the simile here, and I'm just going to make a note, since I know now specifically that it's a simile, and I'll go ahead and circle the word like. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go back to my simile and metaphor assignment and look at what I need to do in column 2. What you want to do is look at that example and note the objects that are compared and then define the diction. And so you'll notice here that I've pulled out from that example that love and a thorn are actually being compared. And then I actually go and define the diction. I literally define these words using a dictionary. That's what I mean by the word choice. Now, once you're done with that, you're going to look in column 3. And this is when you're going to have to go back to your PDF and review the character and the context of the play, or basically what's happening in the plot that surrounds this simile. And then you want to make a note of who uses it and when in the context of the story. And you'll notice here in column 3 that I said Romeo is saying these words, and that is correct. But once I go back to my actual PDF, I notice that it's the conversation between Mercutio and Romeo. But on my actual PDF, Mrs. Milligan made a mistake and said it was Benvolio. So very easy mistake to remedy here. You just scratch out Benvolio and put Mercutio's. And for column 4, once you've done that, you want to make sure, after you've finished column 3, once you come back to column 4, you want to explain the significance of using that comparison at that particular moment. And here, the actual significance still applies, even though I got the conversation participators incorrect the first time. This conversation is the first impression the audience has of Romeo. His words highlight the injury he feels from love, or specifically the injury he feels when a woman, Rosaline, shuns his advances. Well, we might have to edit this part right here. It's not the first impression, because that would have been when he and Benvolio first speak. But this is a continuance of his first conversation topic. He not only spoke to Benvolio about it, but now he's bringing it to Mercutio's point of view, or to his attention to see what Mercutio has to say. Okay? So once you've done that, you've completed the assignment for whatever simile or metaphor that you've been assigned. And so when you come down to your 4 different similes, let's see, is that 1, 2, oh, it's only 3. Good job. There's only 3. You're going to do the same thing. Review the simile or metaphor, locate it in your text, highlight it, and then over here, note the comparison, define the diction, okay. Note who says it and when, and then explain the significance. If you have any questions, please let me know. If for any reason you're not understanding this concept, definitely email me. But as you continue your active reading of Romeo and Juliet, keep in mind that similes and metaphors are going to pop up quite often. And so you want to make sure that you're making note of them and highlighting them and annotating as you read. And that's it. Have a beautiful day.